We've recently helped a family of clients who have been with me for 20 or 25 years. When we first got to know them, the husband in the family was a retired stockbroker. He very much knew what he wanted to do from an investment perspective, but came to us to help for execution of transactions. He sadly passed away a number of years ago. And then the relationship moved towards investment management alongside the execution of any transaction. At that point, we started to look at a number of different areas of our services that might be appropriate for her needs now that she had survived her spouse. And that was the sole objective. More recently, as she's getting into her 80s, the objectives for the family have changed. The questions that came to us were, how could they pay for school fees and similar? And that opened up the conversation in terms of longer term planning, and that naturally brought me into conversations with James about how we could best serve them.
After Peter introduced the clients to me, it was very much sitting down with them, understanding their situation, their position, looking at their objectives for the plan, but also pointing out to them where there could be some shortfalls that may need to be rectified. So we looked at their position and got an understanding of what they really wanted from the plan. But with inheritance tax planning, it's not just thinking about inheritance tax, it's also thinking about the other areas that can affect inheritance tax planning. And by that I mean affordability, sustainability of income, creating tax elsewhere to make gifts, but also long-term care costs. And so all those factors have to be thought about before coming towards a strategy that works for that client.
My role as the investment manager was to build a portfolio of investments that met their objectives at the outset. In the first instance, that was income production to meet the individual's needs. That caused me to build a portfolio of direct investments in corporate bonds through our fixed income service. Thereafter, as the objectives started to change and move towards inheritance tax mitigation, it opened up our inheritance tax service as a potential vehicle.
My role as the planner, after Peter kindly introduced the client to me, was to actually sit down with the clients, get a better understanding of their situation, their circumstances, understand the wider family unit's objectives as well. Subjects such as school fees planning comes into the periphery and thinking of what we're trying to do. But also, when you're thinking about inheritance tax planning, it isn't just the idea of gifting or wanting to mitigate inheritance tax. Actually, there's a lot more to it than that. It's looking at the affordability, sustainability of income. If we start moving assets around, does that affect their income streams? Creating tax elsewhere to make the gift could be detrimental to them, but also long-term care costs. So those different elements have to be thought about before any strategy can be put into place. I think there's quite a few benefits to working as a team, not just the fact that there's two individual specialists, it's actually the way we blend together. For my situation, if we're going to set up investments for them in types of trusts, actually what is that trust geared towards? What's its objective? These sorts of discussions and having another professional there to actually focus on the investment proposition allows me to think about the structuring a lot more and think about the different solutions that are available to clients, not just from an investment perspective, but the full suite that could be put into their plan for them.
Having James's input has proven invaluable. I can focus on the investments, the performance, and a portfolio to meet their objectives, in the knowledge that James is working behind the scenes, ensuring the overall structure and the tax mitigation is being dealt with.
Because of the plan we put in place, we were able to help the clients mitigate inheritance tax, pay for school fees for the grandchildren, cover long-term care costs as and when required. Their plans will be ever evolving, and so having that ability to pick the phone up to Peter and I will help them as their circumstances change. So the one thing I think that's incredibly beneficial to a client is essentially just having two professionals within one team, helping to provide them with advice in two very complex areas to ensure that their assets are working as hard as they can for them and to meet their objectives.
In addition to that, it's the ongoing meetings which really add the value for them. The convenience of knowing that we can come to their home, meet with them, understand any changes that have happened to ensure that that's woven into their long-term plan. Having known this family for 20 to 25 years, their needs and requirements have changed. I think at the moment, the biggest value that we can add is the peace of mind that we can give all three generations of the family.